Hello again, and welcome to Small Screen Cinema with Tabitha and Dad. And Tabitha is going to talk about that classic TV movie that won so many Emmys, got praise everywhere. It's in the uh, historic registry. It's in many, many time capsules that are buried throughout this world and many others. Moon of the Wolf. Tabitha, tell us about Moon of the Wolf.
Well, I'm sure I don't need to tell you anything. It's the most famous movie that's ever been made. So you all already know about it. So we'll see you next week.
All right, bye.
Moon of the Wolf was based on a novel by Les Witten. Witten was an investigative journalist, and he got himself into some trouble during his life. He wrote a lot about Watergate, got himself arrested and nearly thrown in prison for 10 years. And yet still found time to write political thrillers, horror stories, and science fiction stories for him.
Good.
He also translated French poetry and wrote a biography on F. Lee Bailey.
Okay.
What an interesting guy.
Now, F. Lee Bailey actually did do um, he was in a trial. He was the defense attorney in a trial in my home city of East Alton, Illinois, back in the 80s.
No kidding.
Hmm. No
Did
kidding.
he win?
He did not win.
Loser.
This is before Arenthal James. Yeah.
Okay. He passed away in 2017 at 89. This book was adapted for television by Alvin Sapinsley. And he wrote for shows like Y50, Night Gallery, The Virginian, and Suspense. His last credit on IMDb was an episode of The Hitchhiker in 1984, and he passed away in 2002 at age 80. And the film was directed by Daniel Petrie, who also directed our film from last week, A
He
Howling in the
did.
Woods.
Yes.
So, go watch that one if you want to know about his life. I'm not going to redo the work that you already did. The
It's
movie
okay.
stars David Janssen as Sheriff Aaron Whitaker, best remembered as the titular fugitive, Dr. Richard Kimball. He was also the star of a two-season show, Harry O, and the short-lived show that you mentioned last week, O'Hara U.S. Treasury. He was in a movie with Pete Duell and Kim Darby called Generation. He worked on a ton of television movies, and his last credit was the 1981 film Inchon. Sadly, he died pretty young. He was only 48 when he passed in 1980 from a heart attack. Next up is Barbara Rush as Louise Rodanth, and she was in some old 50s sci-fis like When Worlds Collide and It Came from Outer Space. She was in the Douglas Sirk film Magnificent Obsession, and she co-starred with Paul Newman in a couple of films, The Young Philadelphians and Ombre. And she had a sizable role on the series Peyton Place. She did guest work on shows like Ben Casey, The Mod Squad, McLeod, Ironside, Maude, Mannix, and Magnum PI. She was also a regular on the short-lived show Flamingo Road. Rush passed away fairly recently in 2024 at 97. Next, we have Bradford Dillman as Andrew Rodanth, and Dillman almost broke into the A-list, but never quite made it. He was in the film Compulsion with Dean Stockwell. That other films he did at that time just didn't quite hit. But he did continue to work for decades. He was on The Naked City, 12 O'Clock High, The Big Valley, Wild Wild West, Mission Impossible, and Alias Smith and Jones. He had one of the best supporting roles on that show in one of the best episodes, in my opinion. He was in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, which is the second one, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's the second one.
Okay.
S- Planet of the Apes, Escape, Beneath. What was the fourth one? I don't know.
Okay. Well,
There,
it's two or three.
yeah.
He was also in The Way We Were, Running Scared, and Piranha. Come on,
Ah,
that's fun. He was in a mini series about Jonestown,
guy,
Guyana, Guyana Cult of the Damned. Why
I saw that movie.
did you? Is it
Yes.
any good?
Uh, for the reasons I watched it, it was pretty good because I was in college and I was watching it. Basically, I was doing a study on how cult of personalities uh, put together their followers.
Hmm.
So I've always been interested in that. So yeah, I watched that movie. There was a second movie that I think was a TV movie on it at the same time. I mean, the late 70s, early 80s, that was just hot stuff because it was so outrageous. But now we see that people tend to follow cult of personalities, educated people. Anybody can be susceptible to a smooth talker, or as Charday said, a smooth operator, or one that jumbles his words up.
I was gonna say, he doesn't have to be a smooth talker.
No, no,
Apparently, he just has to exist and try to say stuff.
yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, Dillman passed away in 2018 at 87. Then we have Jeffrey Lewis as Lawrence, father of Juliette Lewis, star of my nightmares when my older cousin let me watch Salem's Lot as a child, and one of the guys who forced heroin onto Hutch.
Oh, I
Little
did
known,
not realize that.
little known fact.
He,
Yeah.
he's been in everything.
Yes. Yes, you may recognize him from Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, The Lawnmower Man, Way of the Gun, Man Without a Face, or The Devil's Rejects for films. For television, he did everything. The 18, Falcon Crest, Highway to Heaven, Lou Grant, Barnaby Jones, and Mork and Mindy. He died in 2015 at 79. And finally, we have Claudia McNeil as Sarah. McNeil was in A Raisin in the Sun, the original play, and then she was in the film too. She was nominated for a Tony Award for her work in that. She worked on other films like Black Girl and The Last Angry Man. She appeared in several TV movies, but has a relatively small filmography. She retired from the business in 1983 and passed away in 1993 at 76. Moon of the Wolf aired September 26, 1972. It aired against Hawaii Five-O and the made-for-TV movie Deadly Harvest on CBS, and Bonanza and the New Doctors on NBC. And that's all for our background. Let's get into this spooky werewolf tale. So
Ooh.
we are way down in the bayou this week, and the credits play over a bunch of dogs barking at something unknown. And their redneck owners, Tom and Tom, come out of the house. It's Senior and Junior. Come out of the house with their shotguns and take the dogs out into the forest. The dogs lead them to a dead body. Ellie something. I could not understand some of this dialogue. They not
Okay,
only do they have thick southern accents, they are mumbling their lines.
let me say this. I couldn't catch what they were saying with
Okay,
the
good.
accents, the dogs barking, and then all I knew was there was a dead person. I didn't even know if it was male or female because I couldn't pick that up. So I had to watch more of the movie to figure out it was a female. But yeah, that whole opening scene with their accents and the dogs persistently barking, being louder than them, it was like, come on, you guys need to reshoot this, re-edit it, or
Yeah,
something. Because it looked very amateurish. It was like Manos, Hands of Fate. The first scene was.
yeah, I was definitely like, oh boy, if this doesn't get better, I'm not going to be able to take notes on this. What? And her name is Ellie something. I never caught the last name. So they get the sheriff out there, Aaron Whitaker, and judging by that carpet he's rocking under his semi-button shirt, I'd say he's our werewolf. He's not, but he does have a hairy chest, is what I'm getting at.
It
Um,
happens.
yeah, and he's I think he says he doesn't want to tell her family about this, which I'm like, you can't do that. But anyway, it doesn't matter because her brother Lawrence comes tearing onto the scene, and he demands to know who killed her. He gets in an argument with them because they're like, well, it must have been a wild dog, and he's like, or no wild dog, or however he talks, and the sheriff shuts him up and sends everybody home. And the medical examiner says that the dogs might have gotten to her, but she was also struck on the head with enough force to kill her. And whoever hit her was left handed. Excuse me. Yeah. He's ruling this a homicide, and the sheriff's like, ugh, I don't need this today. So the sheriff drives up to Ellie's family's place where he greets Lawrence, his father Hugh, and the nurse, caregiver, Sarah. Wasn't exactly sure what her role was.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I did like the refrigerator on the porch, and I'm thinking they're going to walk into a shack because from the outside it looks like a bayou shack, and then you walk in. I thought, oh, that's a decent looking house.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's not a very good movie, but have you ever seen Loaded Weapon?
I have not.
Okay, so it's a Lethal Weapon parody, and
Yeah.
when they get to the Mel Gibson character, and you see him living in his trailer on the beach, right? And then it cuts inside, and it's just a mansion. It's pretty good. Anyway, the father Hugh is very sick. He's bedridden, and he can only mumble in French. And he keeps saying Lou Carew, I think is what it is, something like that.
Okay. As a connoisseur of werewolf movies, that's been in 75% of them. They,
Really?
they, yeah, they call it that.
Mm.
Even in the original Wolfman movie, they call it a loup-garou.
Oh,
So when he's saying that, I'm thinking, haven't any of you, because they're like, we don't know what that means. Haven't any of you ever seen a werewolf movie? It's all the time in werewolf movies.
which also seems weird because his son also speaks French. A lot of people speak French. They're in Louisiana, but everyone's like Lou Carew. I don't
You know what
know.
the actual translation of loup-garou is werewolf.
Warwolf? Um, so Sheriff Aaron questions Lawrence, and he says that no one told their father that Ellie died. He just seemed to know. And he tells the sheriff that Ellie was having trouble with a man from up the hill. I guess a guy with some more money than they have.
Yeah,
And he knew something was wrong, but she wouldn't tell him what. She just sassed him, so he hit her. What is it with brothers in these movies thinking that they can just smack their sisters around? What is up with that?
I don't know.
Anyway, it turns out that Lawrence is left-handed. So, uh-oh. So the sheriff goes up the hill where all those rich folks live and meets Andrew Rodanth, who is riding his horse. Rodanth invites him up to the porch and he tells the sheriff that he was sick with malaria last night, which I guess is something that just comes and goes. I always thought malaria was more serious than that, but I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
No, that's right.
So so he was in all night. And then his sister Louise comes to call him for lunch, and she and Sheriff Aaron are very happy to see each other.
Oh, hey.
Aw, they had crushes on each other in junior high. How
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
And Rodanth is scandalized over this for some reason. He's like, Louise. Um, she starts talking about how their big ass plantation house is falling apart, and Rodanth is like, shut up, woman. But she's very charming. She's easily the best part of this movie. I like her a lot. Rodanth rushes her back inside, and he's like, "My sister's been ill. Also, stay away from her." Like she was acting weird when she wasn't. She was just acting like a normal
I
person.
think it's chlamydia.
um, again with him treating her like she's property. This is 1972, not 1872. Come on.
Yeah, the plantation's probably been falling apart since they freed the slaves.
Probably. And then they were like, "Well, we don't want to do all that work.
Gosh, it's hot out there.
This is hard, actually."
I'm gonna sit inside and drink lemonade. Yeah.
Right? That was the life. So Sheriff Aaron goes back to the crime scene and he finds a necklace there. And the Toms happen along, and the sheriff asks how well they knew Ellie and where they were at the time she was killed. And they both have alibis, but like not great ones. Tom Jr. is like, "You mean she weren't killed by no wild dogs?" And Sheriff Aaron says, "There's more than one kind." And I'm like, "Ooh, put your sunglasses on. That's a CSI Miami moment." Back in town, Sheriff Aaron runs into Sarah, and old Dad Hugh sent her up to buy some stuff to dry the Lucaru away. She doesn't know exactly what the Lucaru is either, but Hugh is scared of it and is scared that it's going to come after Lawrence next. She tells the sheriff that there's no way that Lawrence killed Ellie. She tells him that Ellie was pregnant, and if he finds the father, he'll find the killer.
Hmm. The plot thickens.
Mm-hmm. So Aaron goes to confront the doctor slash medical examiner about hiding the fact that she was pregnant. And the doctor says, "I knew she was pregnant, okay? I was third in my class." And I'm like, I don't think he thinks you missed it. I think he thinks you lied about it. And he's like, "Well, she didn't die due to pregnancy." It's like, that's still a very relevant fact when dealing with a murder. Whatever. And he also says, "Well, the father didn't kill her because I'm the father, and I didn't kill her. I love her."
And I just wanted the sheriff to say, "Oh, that's so gross. You're so old. Ew." Anyway, go ahead.
Well, for someone who loved her, he was completely detached during that opening
Emotionless.
scene. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So Aaron starts drinking on the job because these people are exhausting.
I like that. The doctor is drinking on the job, and the cop starts drinking on the job. Here we
It's
go.
the bayou, who cares?
Yeah.
So the doctor is the man that she'd been having trouble with. They were supposed to meet the night she was killed. He says she never showed up. It's me again. It's been a long weekend. He wanted her to get an abortion. She wanted to have the baby and get married. She wanted to go away with him and start over. He's like, "I'm 50. I don't want to start over at 50." And I'm like, "Hey, come on. It's not over till it's over. You can start a new life."
I
He
can.
admits you're older than 50. You
Oh,
can't.
okay.
You missed your shot. Sorry.
It's gonna go join the
He admits
circus.
that he was weak. He just wanted to keep loving her, but not actually doing anything about it. And she had enough self worth to be like, "That's not good enough." So Sheriff Aaron shows him the necklace, but he doesn't recognize it and says he never saw Ellie wearing anything like that. He asks, what would one use sulfur and some kind of acid for? And the stuff that Sarah had bought at the store. And the doctor said supposedly that kept wolves away, but that's just an old tale. The doctor is not left-handed, but Aaron, who seems kind of trash now, says, of course, if she was hit from behind, that would make the killer right-handed. Great, so we have gotten nowhere. That's awesome. And he leaves without arresting the doctor, even though it kind of seems like he could arrest the doctor.
There, the doctor even says, "Aren't you gonna arrest me?" Nah,
Yeah,
nah.
yeah, and the left-handed thing was his theory in the first place, but whatever.
Hold on, hold on. Aren't you gonna arrest me? No, you're white with a penis. Why would I arrest you?
You're right. I forgot. What was I thinking? When he leaves the doctor's office, he runs into Louise, and he kind of stumbles his way into asking her if she'd like to get some coffee, and she's happy to join him. So they go to this little bar, restaurant, whatever, And they talk about how her family owns the town and how her great great granddaddy established the town. And she laughs at the notion of her brother telling people she's been sick. Because actually, she was just living with a socially unacceptable man who left her. What a filthy, sinful, street walking tramp.
Yes, yes, yes. That's why she got chlamydia.
Yes. And socially unacceptable, I wonder if that means not white.
Or possibly a gator.
Gators are acceptable husbands in the bayou.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, Rodanth hired some PIs to track her down in New York and drag her back home. And she had to go because Andrew has all the money and she was never trained or educated to be anything more than a socialite. And that's when Andrew comes in and is further scandalized by his sister lowering herself to hang out with the sheriff in some dingy bar. And she told him the truth about her slutty, slutty past. So Louise leaves leaves with her brother just to calm everything down before his monocle pops out. And back at Lawrence's place, Hugh keeps screaming about the Lucaroog. And Lawrence and Sarah don't know what to do. The doctor, the prime suspect right now, shows up, examines the victim's father, dopes him up, and then tells Lawrence, "Well, he'll be dead pretty soon. I gotta go."
Yeah, it's very great bedside manners there.
Right? But before he leaves, Sarah pushes the doctor to admit that Ellie was pregnant, but he doesn't. And when he leaves, Sarah tells Lawrence, which is a bad idea considering his temper. She makes him promise to keep his head, but let's be real here, he's not going to. In town, everyone has gathered with their guns to start shooting some dogs, including Andrew Rodanth. You would think he that would be beneath him, but I guess not. And sure enough, here comes Lawrence jumping on the doctor and accusing him of killing her and telling everybody within earshot that he knocked her up.
And I like the punch, which didn't even come close to landing. It was like maybe you may have wanted to do another take of that.
Look,
So,
these movies were shot fast. They didn't have time for another take. Aaron drives by Louise's place and she flags him down and invites him in and asks how the case is going. He says he's got suspects, but he doesn't want any of them to be guilty. He says the doctor's the closest thing he has to a friend, so that's why he doesn't want him to be guilty. Lawrence was her brother, and that will ruin the town's reputation with the rich people if he's the killer. It didn't make much sense.
yeah,
Also, rich people have pedophile islands. Who cares what they think of the rest of us?
got a point there.
Yeah, and he doesn't want it to be Tom Jr. because he doesn't like to think Ellie would have lowered herself like that. Huge burn on Tom Jr. Also, I don't think there's any real reason to suspect him that I could glean. Did
No,
you?
no,
Yeah, yeah. So Aaron and Louise bond a little bit, and they do have a sweet chemistry together, and I do like their scenes. Like, I buy it, and I love that they're middle-aged. We need more middle-aged love stories. That night in town, Lawrence is in jail, but not really. He's sitting in an open cell, and the sheriff trusts that Lawrence won't try and escape and leaves him in the surely capable hands of his deputy. And then we get a POV shot of probably a werewolf with like heavy breathing, watching the jail, creeping their way toward the jail. And whoever this is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
we are now 40 minutes into this movie. We haven't seen a werewolf, and all of a sudden, we finally still don't see a werewolf. We just see a POV. But anyway, go ahead.
Hold on. This is the problem with werewolf movies in general and why I don't necessarily love them. The makeup is always a problem. It just doesn't look good enough. in most of them,
No.
especially in a 1972 TV movie. There's a reason they don't show the werewolf very much.
Yeah. I An American Werewolf in London changed the rules. That and The Howling. Those those transformations, I've never seen anything like that in a movie when
Yes.
they were like awesome. This, no, the guy just kind of grew a beard. He's a werewolf. Although we haven't seen him yet, we don't actually see the werewolf until we are an hour into a movie that is only an hour and 15 minutes. But anyway, let's go.
The werewolf breaks the bars off the window in the jail, and the
As
deputy,
werewolves do.
as you do, yeah, and the deputy locks Lawrence up while he goes to investigate. And yeah, he'll totally be right back, and everything will be fine. We hear a growling, and then the werewolf charges the deputy, who shoots at it, but to no avail.
Yeah, we're
It
only seeing the
kills,
werewolf's point of view, so we're not
yes,
actually seeing the werewolf.
yes. It kills him and then breaks through the cell and kills Lawrence too. And I like Jeffrey Lewis, but he just like the weakest protest to this ever. He's just kind of going like, "What? No, I don't. What? Don't. Oh, oh no! It's like Jeffrey, he's about to kill you."
It's like Joe of the Three Stooges. Not so hard. Don't hurt me.
The whole town hears this commotion somehow, and they all flock to the jail. But it's too late. Deputy What's His Face and Lawrence are dead. The doctor says whoever did this tore them apart with their fingernails. Sheriff Aaron tells them they all should have saved themselves the trouble shooting all those poor dogs. And he doesn't think that, he now believes that the Toms and the doctor are not strong enough to rip cell bars. Which, yeah, I don't think any human is strong enough to do that. So he's all out of suspects. He asks for volunteers for deputies to guard Hugh since he's the only one in that family left. Well, all these tough guys who were out shooting defenseless dogs are too afraid to volunteer now. So he gets nothing from them. And the next morning, the town is practically empty. Everybody is scared. Rodanth comes to town and volunteers his services to be a deputy, which is the first kind of decent thing he's done. And also, why would he do it?
Yeah.
Whatever. Uh, but Sheriff Aaron isn't really in a position to refuse, so he drives him out to Hugh and Sarah. And Rodanth says he's never been in this part of town. You know, the poor part. They greet Sarah, and she says Hugh is pretty weak today. She says that her father used to work for Rodanth. And as they approach the house, Rodanth smells the sulfur acid protection thing and dramatically drops to the ground and starts gasping like he can't breathe. He passes out, and Aaron takes him to the hospital. And so the doctor examines him. Rodanth is still unconscious, and the doctor's like, I don't know, we had a fit. And before I can say, no shit, Sherlock, Aaron kindly does it for me in a TV friendly way.
Well, no
And he's like,
manure, Sherlock.
well, I won't know more until he wakes up. All I can say is it's definitely not malaria. Great. Aaron goes back out to see Louise, and he asks about family history of medical incidents like that. And she said her granddaddy would have spells, but nobody ever really explained to her what that meant.
That's what rich people have. Oh, I'm having a spell.
They have spells, yeah.
Yeah, poor people, we have oh, emotional trauma, social anxiety, all that kind of stuff. But rich people just have spells. He died of a spell.
He died of a spell. While he's in her living room, he spots a photo of her, and in it, she's wearing the necklace that was found at the crime scene. And that's not looking good for Rodanth, is it? He's
No.
got to go. Yep, he's got to go back and question him. And Louise asked to come along, and he said, "All right, but you can't be in the room while I question him. You've got to wait in the hallway." So back at the hospital, Rodanth says he gave Ellie that necklace, but he didn't kill her. You see, he has a specific strain of malaria malaria. And Ellie was helping him by bringing him medicine so the town wouldn't know about his malaria. She was there that night that she was murdered delivering his meds. And when she left, he had a spell, as rich people do, and doesn't remember what happened. Rich people never remember any bad things that they may have done. They
Nope.
can't they can't recall. They can't recall.
Even when there are thousands of pictures and emails with their information on that, I don't remember.
I just can't recall. No, no, don't remember.
Or it was okay. I brought my kids with me.
God. Anyway, Sheriff Aaron asks if Rodanth is left-handed, and he says he's ambidextrous. And I thought we'd already established that the left-handed, right-handed stuff doesn't actually matter. When I was a kid, I tried to make myself ambidextrous one summer, but I got bored, so I'm not.
Or
Because I'm a left-handed, and when I was in grade school, people were like, the teachers were like, "Oh, you're smudging when you write." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I'm left-handed. My fingers going over the pencil I just wrote. Sorry." So
see, uh, that's why it's a great accomplishment that you won the spelling bee because left-handed people actually have a harder time spelling because their hand covers up their words as they write. That's
did you
true.
just make that up?
No, that's true.
Oh, well, look at me overcoming my handicap.
I know. Very proud of you.
Thank you, thank you. There will be an inspirational TV movie about my life coming very soon. So after leaving the hospital, Louise and Aaron go to see Hugh because Louise said, "Oh, I speak French. Maybe I can decipher what he's been saying." So Sarah lets them in, and Louise and Hugh confer in French for a little bit. And she tells Aaron that he's saying Lou Garoug, not Lou Carew, which means werewolf. And also, she's the next victim. And then we see a werewolf hand. Finally, some kind of wolf thing. At at the hospital, the doctor goes in to check on Rodanth, who is now all wolfed out and attacks him. And then he goes after a nurse, but the doctor and some orderlies manage to fight him off, and he dives through a window.
Yeah,
In the morning,
he was the weakest werewolf I've ever seen because there's like two of them fighting. He's got the dominant position on the desk, and one's just swinging like a lamp or something at him. And instead of wolfing it up and tearing the heck out of him, I'm just going to jump through the window. I guess it was so much easier and cheaper to make this movie if he just jumps through the window than for them to have
yes,
a battle scene where he rips people up. But anyway,
yes.
they did their movie. God bless them.
So the next morning, the town is amped up to go killing. Now they were too scared to volunteer for guard duty, but when it comes to hunting down a man, they're all ready to go. Also, this line made me laugh so hard. The mayor or whatever is like he says, "Remember this: Andrew Rodanth is out there somewhere, and he's turned into a wolf." He just says it so casually, like that's a reasonable thing to say.
Just like it happens with all of our citizens about every couple of years, one of them turns into a wolf. Damn it, let's get this one again.
Oh my god, I can't quit yawning. Mm. So Aaron and Louise arrive on the scene, and she pleads for her brother's life because, again, he controls the money. And Tom Jr. is like, "Hey, she's his sister. She might be a she wolf." And Aaron says that this posse is unlawful. Well, tough shit. The mayor puts Tom Sr. in charge for reasons I'm sure I don't understand. And they all take off to go Rodanth hunting. So Aaron takes Louise back to her house. Um, and I guess he's outside checking for werewolves, and he knocks on the door. And for a minute, she thinks it's werewolf brother at the door. Um, Realizes it's Aaron and lets him in. and she tells him she's been reading all about lycanthropy or lycanthropy. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, and that it must be a disease that somehow resembles werewolf because a werewolf isn't real, and that's some like Scully levels of denial she's in right now.
Scully levels, yeah.
They debate over whether such a thing is possible, and then suddenly they hear a howl coming from the barn. Aaron shuts and locks all the windows, and she correctly points out that he's already torn through iron and cement. And he's like, well, this is his house. He'll be nicer to it.
Okay, before that, she says that the only way it can be killed is by a blessed bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm a kid and I'm watching a Dracula movie, and this applies to werewolves too. And they say the only way to kill a vampire is a stake through the heart. And I'm a kid, I'm thinking, no, you can put a vampire through a wood chipper, and I swear to God, it won't be alive. I'm like 10 years old, and I don't think I can watch a vampire movie or a werewolf movie and then say, this is the only way to kill them. Nope. It always comes to mind, nope, you can put them in a wood chipper. Even if they are alive, what are they going to do? They're in a million little pieces.
That's true. It's just a sentient puddle of blood and goo, I guess, at that point.
If I ever write a vampire or werewolf movie, can only be killed two ways: a silver bullet or a wood chipper. And I have a wood chipper.
That's good, actually. I like that.
Go ahead.
So Erin leaves to investigate, and Louise does her best to barricade herself inside. Erin heads out to the barn, and Rodant's horse runs by, but he isn't there. He is making his way to the house and very easily busts in. So much for respecting his own property. Louise escapes through a window while Rodant is struggling with the door. And she goes out to the barn in search of Erin, and she hears more howling. She can't find Erin. She locks herself in the barn. Lucky for her, there's an oil lamp conveniently at her feet. She lights it up in time to see Rodant leap through the loft window, so she tosses the lamp up there and sets the whole place on fire.
And we have the worst special effects of a fire that I think I have ever seen. It's like a parent, they're holding a couple of lighters in front of the lens in front of this building. I'm thinking between the first scene and this scene, they must have filmed those last and completely ran out of money. It's like we've got $18 left, and that's going to cover Lunchables for everybody for lunch. That's it. So, what are we going to do for a fire? What are we going to do about the sound of the dogs muffling? Well, we'll just have everybody speak more gibberish so we can't understand anything in the first scene. Here, go ahead.
She escapes the barn and it looks like she has dispatched him, but has she? She goes back inside and cries over a picture of her brother. But then that howling starts again. Terrified, she runs upstairs. Meanwhile, Sheriff Aaron has been taking a piss, I guess, finally arrives back on the scene. Louise has locked herself in, I thought it was her room, but maybe it was his room, the brother's room. One of the bedrooms where there is a gun in the nightstand. She aims it at the door. Aaron notices the bar on fire, which I thought would have been hard to miss before now, but somehow he did. He goes back to the house as Rodanthe breaks into the bedroom, and she shoots him 3 times just as Aaron gets to her. She tells Aaron that Rodanthe basically pulled a suicide by cop. He made her fire. He must have had the bullets in the gun blessed. Because we ran out of time for that part of the story, so we'll just rush it in the exposition at the end. That was pretty bad. And also the werewolf makeup is pretty bad. Sheriff Aaron leads a crying Louise away before they go. But before they go, they turn and his body is transformed back into a human. They leave the house. The end.
Okay. Was there was this originally an hour and 15-minute movie? Because most of our TV movies are about an hour and a half, hour, 35 minutes.
I've never seen a version that was longer
Okay,
or run
because
across a version that was
it
longer.
seems to me they could have put an extra 15 minutes in this movie and filled in some holes. They couldn't necessarily do anything about the special effects because that's a money thing probably. But yeah, they could have filled in a few of the holes so that we could have not had such a Swiss cheese of a movie, I guess you could say.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of we've picked the longer ones, but there are a lot of TV movies from this time that are about an hour and 15 minutes. We just haven't
Yeah.
picked any yet, or many of them yet.
So, do you think this is the first time I've seen it? Did I see a rebroadcast of it, or was this something that I saw originally back in 1972?
This is the first time you saw it.
Very first time I saw it. And do you give it a classic or a trash it?
I mean, I'm gonna have to give it a trash it, but it does have a certain charm that I like.
Yeah, I kind of liken it to The Room or Birdemic. It's a
Hmm.
terrible movie, but it's entertaining because some of it is so laughably bad.
Yeah,
If you take an hour and 15 minutes out of your time day to watch this and don't go into it thinking, I'm going to watch a really good movie. So I'm going to be entertained because this thing is so goofy. You'll enjoy it, but you have to give it a trash it. So,
yeah, yeah.
oh, poor movie, poor movie. But I did like Barbara Rush's performance, and
Yes.
I thought that she was very good. And I thought that David Janssen was a little, I don't know, just a little over the top, maybe, I guess.
Hmm.
Not much, but just, playing the tough Southern cop played it a little heavy, I guess you could say. But yeah,
Fair.
I enjoyed it from the perspective of Manos Hands of Fate. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Maybe it's because we watched so much MST3K. We're just like, it's nothing.
Yeah. I'm surprised this was never on MST.
Yeah, missed
It would
opportunity there.
it would have made a really good one. So
Hmm.
anyway, so next week, I have to go to Springfield because we have to get Violet's car and bring it back because we're going to sell it because she never drives it anyway. And so, so we're going to skip next week and we'll be back in 2 weeks. And we are finally going to do The Screaming Woman.
I have it on Blu-ray.
I did have it on Blu-ray, but I got rid of my Blu-ray player. And so I gave the Blu-ray to my daughter who was not happy because she got that for me for Christmas just like 2 years before. And
Yes, yes, it was gifted to you and then re-gifted to me.
I didn't re-gift it, I just gave it to you
Sorry.
out of love.
Oh, yeah. I
So
mean, I originally gave it to you out of love, but that's fine.
at least there's a lot of love flowing around. Um, the Screaming Woman has Olivia de Havilland in it. So that's anytime you can watch a movie with Olivia de Havilland, you have to watch it. So
Oh
anyway,
yeah, it was so sad when she died because she lived so long. She was over 100. She was like the last of the golden Hollywood people
yeah.
still alive.
Yeah,
So when she died, we really lost something there.
she started in silent movies. And to think
Yeah,
that she was still alive during our time, it was like
it's
amazing.
crazy. Yeah, yeah. Good for
Yep.
her.
Yeah, it reminded me of my great grandpa was 96 when he died when I was 6 years old. And I distinctly remember looking at his that thing they give you at a funeral, the little
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it said that he was born in 1878. And I thought, my gosh, that's like that's like the olden days. That's not that far from Abraham Lincoln. Of course, I wasn't thinking that then. I'm just thinking, gosh, that seems like I didn't know people lived that long, you know?
Hmm.
So, so I actually knew someone who was born just 13 years after President Lincoln was assassinated. And that kind of blows my mind because that seems like ancient history. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
it is. So you're just a few generations from that Abraham Lincoln. Oh, that's strange. I did see an old person um, on TV when I was a kid. It was the oldest verified person, and this person was born the year that Lincoln was assassinated. And
Wow.
this was like 112, 15 years later. But, and that just blows my mind. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, yeah. So Olivia de Havilland, she was actually in the play that Lincoln was shot at. That's how long she's been around.
Not quite that old.
All right. I just wanted to, so join us in 2 weeks for small screen cinema, and you all have a great one. Thank you.